Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break!
With Ambar Garcia, Bryan Broaddus, Nick Harris, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Wednesday, April 30th, 2025, season 21, episode number 8. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We're live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Presented by LG. LG is the world's #1 OLED TV brand for 11 years and counting. See why at LG.com/OLED Evo. And as you can see on your screen,
why did you
watching,
do this to me today?
Because I knew you would have that reaction. That's why.
Why did you bring this guy in?
We don't have Nick Harris with us today, but we've got I think a really great replacement for him today, Mr. Voch Lombardi. Welcome to the show, Voch.
Listen, Derek, I've been watching The Break for a long time. And every time,
you always make me feel old when you say that.
And every time I watch The Break, everybody seems to be suited and booted. And the one thing that I will not do is show up lacking or show up less than.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I just want to throw on a little something. I mean, nothing too crazy, bro.
Nothing too crazy.
Just a custom charcoal check with the
nothing,
you know. So I just wanted to match the energy.
Nothing
at the
too crazy, man. Never go too crazy, Voch. You've never been known to do that before.
It's all right, boy. We drafted some players, boy. Man, we're gonna be whoo.
You know, that's the thing. We're gonna get into this draft today and talk about what happened. You guys obviously did the draft show all weekend, so you were there for every single pick. Literally every single pick, not just the Cowboys pick. So we'll get into some talk around the Cowboys draft. If we have time, we might even talk about some other drafts around the league or some interesting things that came out of the weekend, Mr. Shadur Sanders. But we'll see if we got time to get into some of that other stuff.
We're not going to have time.
We'll see. If we don't, then we always have show next week. And we
sound like a show veteran over there.
Yeah, like we've how many times have we done this?
All right, so we're going to go around the table real quick. I want everybody in a word or maybe 3. How would you characterize the Cowboys draft? We'll start with you, Voch.
BPA, shouts out to y'all. Learn your lesson.
Yeah, I think that handle your business with the board, the way that thing was set up, man, it was, I know it's 2 words, handle your business. I guess 2 words. Sure. But yeah, they drafted their board. Applaud to you for that.
Yeah, I thought they addressed a lot of the things that they were interested in, except one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
Except a big one there. We're going to see what happens, if there's anything in the works or what they're planning to do. But I just cannot imagine them going into training camp and starting everything up without adding a player that's a wide receiver with experience at least.
All right, let's talk about the first-round draft pick, Tyler Booker, Alabama guard. How much of an impact do you think he will make immediately? Coming right out of the box.
I think he's going to be a day one guy. I don't think he needs too much weight room as a day one guy. Like, he's powerful right now. That's his profile. I'm powerful guy. I'm gap exchange guy. I'm IQ guy. And I'm tough and mean guy. And I'm leadership guy. And I've been doing this for a long time. SEC guy, you know. So, I there are some routes that the Cowboys could have gone, right? There was a lot of rumors about Gray Zabel. Gray Zabel is cool, but North Dakota State ain't Alabama. His athleticism and all that kind of stuff, that's not going to move bodies. And Clayton Adams came here and talked about, hey, we're going to move the line of scrimmage. That's what we want to do. So you take Tyler Booker, you pair him with BB, you pair him with Big Tyler Smith, because it's 3 Tylers. We got to make sure we say the right names now. Yeah. And even Terrence Steele, when he was at his best, when he was working with Zach Martin, he was a people mover. Zach gets hurt or, Bass gets in there or Hoffman gets in there, then Terrence looks a little different. Coaching is going to matter as well. So I can only imagine that Booker being back will help Terrence Steele out. So now we have, I wouldn't say a question mark about 4 out of our 5 offensive linemen. I think day one you get a little better O-line.
Yeah, the overall experience, if you look at last year, though, from Tyler Guyton to where you drafted now, Tyler Guyton really didn't have a lot of experience, and the learning curve was very, very steep, and we saw that last year. And, unfortunately, there were times where he was hurt and unavailable, and then at the end of the season, the coaches are trying to win games to make sure that they come back. And, he lost that opportunity from an experience standpoint. But when you're talking about, Voch was even mentioned it, like with Tyler Booker, you have a guy that is lined up and played in a lot of big-time football games. Dallas Cowboys are going to play in a lot of big-time football games. They got the right guy here.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see him come in because I think he will definitely make an impact immediately. I don't see him having a very huge learning curve. Obviously, there's that learning curve that you're automatically going to have year one. But I think he's a plug-in player, and he's going to be able to be effective immediately. He's extremely smart. You look at his history, everything he's done, starting from high school all the way up until this point, and even listening to him, the way that he describes things, he's so graphic, but I love it. Like, it makes you excited. He is very confident, and it just makes you believe that, okay, this is someone that's definitely going to come in here and make history for the Cowboys.
Also, Booker can get better. There's a lot of room for him to grow.
Yeah.
He likes to, lunge and lean sometimes when he's whooping people. And, there's a coach that can tap him on the shoulder like, hey, buddy, just keep your balance here, keep your feet here, keep your hands there. So there's room to grow. And I don't know how the National Football League does it, but they find a way to make people stronger, and he's already a strong guy. Next year, he's going to be bigger, and his neck's going to be swollen. He's going to be strong. We'll be like, man, Tyler Booker is even more of what he was good at this year than he was last year. A lot of room to grow for him.
Yeah, as I was looking at some different things I was seeing online, some different film of him playing, one of the things that stood out to me, as you were mentioning, Voch, even though his feet sometimes would get him into bad situations, his strength would allow him to recover. Yeah. It would allow him to be able to get a hand on a guy and then get himself back into position because he was so strong. So especially for a young guy learning the NFL, dealing with guys that are behemoths and guys that are quick, I think that's going to be an advantage for him starting out early until he starts to figure out some of those technique things.
Yeah, you play in a division with big-time defensive tackles.
Yep.
And you've got to be able to handle what's going on in Philadelphia and the Giants and the Commanders. This is exactly what you need to take on those types of players that, let's be honest, quarterbacks nowadays, with the way the ball comes out, it's not always about the edge pressure. It's about things that happen in the middle of the pocket. And if you're not good enough in the middle of the pocket, defenses find ways to attack you a gap. And when they attack you a gap, your quarterback can be in trouble if you're not ready for it.
Yeah, I think we all agree this was a solid pick for the Cowboys. I think the question that comes out of this is going into the draft, whether right or wrong, a lot of people mocked Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas, going to the Cowboys at 12. Was this the right decision from the standpoint of value of player? Obviously, they still need a wide receiver, too. I think everybody agrees with that. And that could have potentially been your wide receiver, too. But you get a guy who's very solid that you think you can plug in. He plays immediately, and he can play for the next 10 years at a very high level. Which was the better option here from the standpoint of value?
Well, they told you which the better option was to them because they clearly, and we've talked about it on these platforms here on DallasCowboys.com and in Voch and myself on our show at night, is that they thought that it wasn't as clear cut to them. It wasn't McMillan and Golden or even Ibuka. It was, there was possibly McMillan, and then there was a gap. Ezeruke, he's even part of that. There's a gap between, where they were going to take some guys there, and a lot of that, and I know with, like I said, with Voch and I talking, I take a lot of blame for talking about receiver. In actuality, they were talking about, let's just put our board together and draft our board, where I might have said, listen, Golden's the guy. You need to do this. You need to, no, they had a clear gap. And I get on them about, hey, or I asked them, please just draft your board. Just draft your board. And they did. So to me, is it the right decision? Yeah, they don't have a right guard. And nothing against Hoffman or TJ Bass or anybody else that's going to play over there. But you got a guy that will play 10, 12 years now and play at a very, very high level. And is in your biggest investment is your quarterback. And is there going to be a lack of mobility with your quarterback? Do you need to keep the front of the pocket clean? Yeah, if he's on his back, it doesn't matter him throwing to Golden or anybody else. It's not going to work. You've got to find a way. They drafted their board, and there clearly was a gap between what we thought with McMillan and any other receiver that was on that board.
Something else to think about, too, Brian, is Dak is older now. And think about the moves that they made when Romo got a little older. All right, Tony used to throw the ball 40 times a game and throw it everywhere. We were winning our best football when Tony was throwing 25, just 30 times a game, right? Give the ball to Murray and pound people up front. So, Booker's going to be about keeping Dak safe, but this is also about we're going to run the ball more. And if you're keeping Dak safe and you're throwing the ball less, wide receiver 2 is a need, but maybe it's less of a need than what right guard would be. And this tells you what they think about Hoffman. And look, shouts out to Hoffman, man. Hoffman does everything. He does his job, and no disrespect to him. But last year when Hoffman was projected to be the center, we went and got a center that was powerful. And this year when he was projected to be the right guard, we went and got a right guard that was powerful. But I think Hoffman will be around. You need these guys. You need 10 or 11 offensive linemen. But just as much as wide receiver was a need, they looked at right guard and said that was a need as well, and they just thought Booker was a better dude.
Yeah, I definitely think you still obviously need a wide receiver.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Sure.
The way that you look at how they went about it, I think that they're sticking with exactly what they've been saying since Brian Schottenheimer took over. He's emphasized the need of returning that running game, establishing the run. And that's where it all starts. You have to have a solid offensive line that is able not only to protect Dak, because again, remembering that he's returning from that injury, but also be able to create a running game, create those gaps for those guys. And we've seen the best football that has been played here has been when you have a very solidified offensive line. And I think that's where it starts and what they're trying to do here. So I'm not mad about them going for a guy like him. Actually, and even after he got here and the way that he speaks and everything that he said, I'm even more impressed. And you look at the press conference, the way that Jerry, Steven, and even Brian Schottenheimer were looking at him while they look like proud Brian looking at him. They had that proud Brian look. Yeah. So it's exciting. It's exciting to see that they're doing exactly what they've said they're wanting to do, and it's starting to take some shape and form.
Quickly, something that just bothers me is I'm just looking all over the league, and I say, boy, Josh Allen just won a big-time game, and he only threw the ball 15 times.
Yeah.
Or Jalen Hurts threw for 115 rushing yards, and they blew somebody out. How did this happen? They're taking pressure off of their quarterback. Now, when it's time for your quarterback to win, they'll go win, and Dak can't do that. Dak's proven to you that he can get into a shootout and throw the ball 50 times and put points on the board. He can do that. But I get jealous when I see these other quarterbacks that get the credit. Jimmy Garoppolo won a conference championship game throwing the ball 11 times. And they say, boy, Jimmy Garoppolo went out there and won a playoff game. Dak doesn't get that. So I'm excited that hopefully this year, next year, whenever it happens, Dak will hopefully start winning games like that.
Yeah, they've been very clear. You look at what they've done in the coaching hires that they've made with Clayton Adams and Connor Riley, all the way to this pick with Booker. I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, for the first time in a little while, I feel like there is a very clear strategic path. Like they know what they want to do, and they are doing exactly what they want to do. And I think it's all gonna line out in them being able to run the ball. Now we will see if they have the running backs to be able to do the things that they want to do. They've got some guys in this draft that we'll talk about a little later that we think have some potential. But all that being said, it is very clear strategically what they want to do, and that is be able to run the ball effectively. And I think they're putting all the pieces in place to be able to do that. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we'll jump into the second day of the NFL draft, talk about the second and third round picks and what those players mean to this team or can mean to this team next year in 2025. We'll talk about it when we come back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Don't put off getting your oil changed, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. They're so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's stay-in-your-car 10-minute oil change at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. That means you won't even have time to show off your best touchdown celebration. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the crews. The Yeti French Press. Hot mix waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take a steak, cornbread, cobbers, pot pie, and potatoes next oval with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Back to the break.
LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game, but don't take our word for it. Digital Trends said that LG OLED G4 has the best picture quality they've ever seen. See it for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
Welcome back. We are in the second segment of the
softest
break.
that read has ever
I'm
been
losing
read.
my voice right now. I don't know why, but I'm losing my voice.
Draft weekend did it to you?
I guess. I don't know. All those hours.
This segment brought to you by.
Come on, man. You went like,
all right. We all were there.
If anything, it should be y'all
sports
losing your voice. I did not talk as much as you guys did.
Well, this segment is brought to you by blockchain.com. Let's talk some more draft. Let's get into the second round. Cowboys draft edge Donovan Ezaraku from Boston College. Shout out to the Qs. And here's the interesting thing about him. Everything suggests to me from what I've seen, from what I've read, the film I've watched, that this is a really, really, really great player. He was second in all of college football with regards to the number of sacks. And if I heard this correct, he was first in overall pressures in college football. I thought I heard that somewhere.
16 sacks and about 40 pressures, I believe.
Yeah. That all being said, why was he available in the second round?
He's 6'2", and Derek, this is your first time hearing me say this, in Ambar as well. Teams suck at drafting. Teams aren't very good at
I've heard you say that because I listen to the draft show.
There you
All
go.
right, gotcha.
Teams aren't good at this, and I think sometimes teams have their own measurables, and they'll overthink things, and they'll go, well, he's 240 some odd pounds. That may not fit the metric that we're looking for. We want to get a guy like Michael Williams, who doesn't get sacks in the league, but at least he's about 280 and he's tall. But the Cowboys have a type, and they love arm length, and Donovan has those long arms, Brian, like 33-inch arms, I believe, and you see that shine in his pass rush, and he's a dude that knows how to pass rush right now. Like, and I just personally feel that if you get sacks in college, then you will get sacks in the league. He's not a guy that we're going to sit around and just wait on him to pick up pass rushing. He's ready to go right now. He's solid in the run game for his size. I don't think he'll be a day one run defender right now because the Cowboys have run defenders right now. Marshawn Nealon will be doing run defending things right now. But as far as your NASCAR package, I call it end game. You got Donovan, Micah, Dante, Sam. If he gives you anything, you have a lot of names you could just throw at quarterbacks.
Yeah, this is when him and Mike Green from Marshall, who ended up going later in the draft, because of some of the things that he was dealing with on a personal level and stuff, and the Ravens, I think, got a heck of a pick there. But the thing about it, he was one of when Abdul Carter was like the number one guy on a lot of folks' boards, and then all of a sudden, hey, now tell me who the next best pass rushers are. Donovan was one of these guys. He was clearly into that way, and when you watched him play, the ability to bend the corner, to attack the shoulder, to get low, to finish where the quarterback is, the fact that they move him around, he stands up, hand down, left side, right side. You could put him at Mike linebacker. This is very much like what they do with Micah Parsons in that type of player, and he was one of the top 3 pass rushers in this draft. And sometimes the draft gods do smile on you. And this is another example, I think, of Dallas. We didn't go into this talking about, oh, they're going to draft an edge. We really didn't. We were talking about at 44, we were talking about the possibility of a one-technique defensive tackle. We were talking about running backs. Maybe a cornerback was in play here. It wasn't the edge rusher, though. This is another great example of them sticking to that board and drafting the best player on it.
Where'd you have him on yours?
He was number 26.
28 on mine.
Did you give him first-round grade?
No, that would be second because you had 15 first-round grades.
You had 15 first-round grades?
Yeah, 15 first-round grades, yeah. So I had him at 26. It's funny how the Cowboys drafted for me in reverse order. Like their first player was my third best player. The second was the second, and then the third was I had Revel as a number 12 on my board. So they went in reverse order of how I would have had it.
Well, again, it just goes to show that, just like you said, they stuck to their board. They stuck to the type of homework and due diligence that they had done in preparation to this, and went for a guy that, like you said, Brian, I was not expecting a defensive end whatsoever for them to draft in the second round. I was looking at, again, wide receiver and those positions there, running back especially, but not a guy like him. But then you start watching him, and you're like, okay, this makes sense. Okay, I see why they try. Yeah. So I think, again, he has that type of physique that the Cowboys like and that will be impactful. And I think you start throwing him into the mix. They're going to ease him into action. But the combination of a guy like him with everybody else, especially Micah, I think can be very, very powerful.
One of the things that stands out to me, you look back at 2023, I think the Cowboys had, in my opinion, the best, if not one of the best, pass rushes in the NFL. They lost Dorrance Armstrong. They lost Dante Fowler. Now, going into 2025, they also lose Tank Lawrence. They lose Chauncey Golston. They now have Ezaraku. Sam Williams will be coming back from injury. Marshawn Nealon, who did some things last year. I don't think it was a bad year for him as a first-year player with the injury that he had. You get Dante Fowler back. Do you guys think they are back now from the standpoint of the horses that they had in 2023? Are they back now from the standpoint of the bodies they need in order to have that kind of effective pass rush? Obviously, Micah Parsons being the mainstay there.
If you dress the 6 of the 10 for a game, then, like I say, we'll see what happens. I mean, you got a couple of guys with Turner and Nealon that are better run defenders, sure. And then you've got 4 legitimate pass rush guys, so they could come at you that way. And so, yeah, I like the combination. It always, you got to think about, okay, what are the guys that are going to play left in? Who's going to play when, a lot of teams are right-handed, and when they run the football, are you going to have some people over there? I think they protected themselves. Like I say, Nealon, as you mentioned, Derek, was getting better as a pass rusher until he got hurt. Mm-hmm. And then once he got hurt, then, he had to kind of restart things all over again, missing that time. But him and Turner on that left side, and then now you mix and match the others, with Micah. Yeah, you're back to that level. I really liked what I saw from Fowler last year playing from the Commanders.
Yeah, he played well. Was 10 sacks last year?
Yeah, it was more than that. I think he was double digit. I think he had 10.
That's what I said, 10.
Oh, did you say 10? I'm sorry.
It's 10 and a half?
It's 10 and a half.
Yeah, so yeah, to me, he was actually playing the run pretty well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that right there is a bonus as well. So if you're going to dress six linemen or 6 ends every week, 2 of them can play the edge against the run, and then you got the other 4 that can get after you.
What'll be different is sometimes Tank Lawrence would find himself on the field just because he's Tank Lawrence, but he wasn't a pass rush guy.
Yeah.
But seniority would just have him on the field in some kind of way. I don't think the Cowboys are going to fall for that this year. I think they got pass rushers in their pass rush category, and they got run guys. And if it's a NASCAR-type situation, I don't think you're going to see Tank on the field. I actually looked up the number. Donovan had 60 pressures.
60.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a ton.
And it's not like he's pressure guy and he's not getting sacks. He still has 16 and a half sacks to account for. So, Donovan being a rookie in a pure pass rush role, that'll definitely work for him. Shouts out to you, Donovan. Day one, you will be ready. But if Sam gives you anything, what's the number? If Sam gives you 8 sacks, 7 sacks, 10 sacks? If Sam gives you
give me 6 well-placed sacks, I'm good.
I'll celebrate. Yeah. I'll celebrate Sam being your 4th guy giving you 6 sacks. So I think they had the opportunity to be better than that crew, but we just have to see.
All right, let's talk about the third-round pick. Cowboys pick up a cornerback, Savone Revel, out of East Carolina. And he missed most of last year with an injury, for those that don't know. But how much do you think that injury is going to affect his ability to be able to play immediately? Because I think for the Cowboys, particularly at the cornerback position, one of the challenges for them is what's going to happen early. You already got Trayvon Diggs coming back from an injury. What do you think is the prospect that he'll be ready to play early in the season when you probably will need that kind of reinforcement?
This is one of my favorite players in the draft.
Yep.
And if he had not had the knee injury, he would be the top corner likely off the board. His length, his reach is incredible. The thing that's got me excited about him as a player is a couple of things. I know Dr. Dan Cooper and what a outstanding surgeon he is and how he puts these players back together. You know, I mean, there's several of them. And there's people in the National Football League, other teams that come and see Dr. Cooper and let him do the knee surgeries because he's that damn good. You're in a situation, too, with Britt Brown. And I've worked with Britt for 14, 15 years. I know what he could do to get guys back on the field. This guy has a tremendous attitude. He has a tremendous work ethic. He wants it very badly. And you pair him up with a guy like Britt Brown who will push him. And he's been working here in Dallas, you know, on his rehab stuff. And now Britt's going to get a chance to have him out on the field and working with him every day. I would say this thing is probably going to be more sooner than later about him and his ability to come back and once again play at a very high level. This guy is long. He's rangy. He's physical. There was a game where you watch him play against Michigan where the ball goes on the goal line and you're thinking it's going to be a touchdown, and he steps up at the 2-yard line, meets the back on the edge, and drives the back into and for a no gain. Sometimes these corners just give up. They give it the Matador, the Olay, whatever. This kid's not that way. There's a lot of toughness in his body, and he's a very determined player. I think they stole one here. I really, really do. And I think that again, it's about your board. It was where they had him on the board. This was my 12th best player overall with the injury. I loved watching this kid play, and I said, listen, I know Dr. Cooper. I know he's going to fix this kid, and wherever he goes, he's going to be okay. He just happened to show up in my backyard, and I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, this is the best value pick that the Cowboys made in this draft. And a guy like him, I mean, I expected something like this more in the second, with that second round pick, because that's historically what the Cowboys do in the second round. And then they pick Donovan. And I'm like, whew, okay, made it out of that one. And then we go and draft a guy like him. And I'm like, if I'm being honest, my thing is, yeah, I'm all for a good recovery story. But if I pick you, I want you healthy and ready to play now.
Yeah.
Ready to go. But again, everything that you just said, Brian, obviously the Cowboys are not just randomly picking guys.
Right.
They do all the work that they need to do, and especially trusting the doctor that he had the surgery with. They have a good understanding of everything that went on with that injury. And he's expected to be ready, hopefully by training camp or beginning of week 1 of the season. So it's not like he's expected to be out the whole season. He will be able to at least contribute at some point this year. I would imagine that we get a chance to see him on the field for sure.
I think sooner than later with him. His demeanor and Britt's determination, that is a very good combination right there. We've seen what Britt was able to do with Overshone and others. You know, he's really good at this rehab stuff, and you know he understands. You know, Britt knows the importance of. You know, we're a little down right now here at corner. They got to get this guy ready. There can't be any questions about him being ready for the season. It's got to be, hey, we got to get him ready for week 1. To go out there and be ready to play.
You know, just as a college player, just as a prospect, he's better than what Diggs was. He's better than what Bland was. Now, it matters when you get to the league, you know, because hey, he has not played it down yet, so I don't want to put that on him. But just watching his film versus those guys, just height, weight, coming up and tackling, speed, like man coverage, zone coverage, whatever you want to do. He didn't have a lot of picks because he would drop them, Bryan Broaddus. Just watching his film, he'll get close to those picks, but he just wouldn't hold on to them. Hey, man, what is coaching for? You know what I mean? Fix up, you know, wear some gloves to fix
what's
your
the jug
hand.
machine for, right?
Put them on the jugs, Brian. But Revel, I think this is where me and Bryan disagree a little bit because knees are tricky, and he plays corner. Cornerbacks need those. So what I would have wanted if the Cowboys were to double up anywhere, I would have wanted them to draft another corner, so that now we could at least go, all right, Revel, if you show up to training camp and you are who you are, good. But just in case you're not, we'll have another guy that we could play, and we can just bring you along at your own pace, and then maybe year 2 and year 3, you would be who you are. Yeah. And one more thing that kind of bothers me about this is I've been waiting for this big 3 at corner for so long, but guys just keep getting hurt here. We never get the all 3 corners on the field at the same time, and even wide receiver. But I think Revel's going to be Diggs' insurance for the most part.
Well, let me tell you this: I'm more concerned about Diggs than I am Revel.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just being honest right there. I mean, that's when you start to talk about how to come back and get back and be ready to go, I have more concern about Diggs than I do the other kid.
Well, I think from the way they're looking at it, to your point, Voch, I think they're thinking that Elam is that guy that gives them that kind of insurance in case Revel isn't ready to go immediately. Now, whether that proves to be true or not, who knows? But I think that's how they at least will look at it. And as you say, Bryan, I know you're a big fan of Kalen Carson. Yeah. There's still hope that he's going to develop, and that the injury was more of what we saw last year, that maybe that's why he didn't develop in the way they wanted to throughout the year, more so than him just not developing. So I think they have hopes for both of those guys. I know hope is not a strategy, but I think they have hope for both those guys.
We're hoping a lot.
I know, but that's how they're thinking about it. Yeah. And so when they look at it, they may say, hey, we got one corner, we'll add him to the mix of the other guys we got, and hopefully one of these guys steps into that role at least until Diggs can be back. All right, let's talk about actually, let's take our final break. We're going to come back. After we take our break, let's talk Texas football. Jaden Blue. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to the break.
AT&T connecting changes everything.
Welcome back. Final segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. Let's talk fifth round. Cowboys select running back Jaden Blue out of Texas Longhorns. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think? What do you think of the pick and where he fits
tell
immediately?
Us, since we're so happy.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what I think. Mm-hmm. First of all, he is a guy. I look at him And my standard for him, because I think some people are like, man, he never really started at Texas. The thing about it is Texas has so much talent at this point. It's kind of like a Georgia, Bama, these other things. Like, you can have a deep room. I think Tashard Choice, who was their coach in college, put out this picture of the bench, and you could see it from the back, and they had all 5 running backs that were there at the time, all the way up to Bijan Robinson, and they all are now in the NFL. I look at this very similar to what happened with Priest Holmes coming out of Texas. When I was at school, Priest Holmes was there. Priest Holmes was an extra guy. He didn't really do a whole lot at Texas. He went undrafted. He went in, and the rest is history with what he did in Kansas City. I think Jaden Blue has the kind of skill that makes him an interesting prospect. He's extremely fast. He's actually not what you typically, when you think of a fast guy, you think he's just outrunning everybody to the outside. That's not his game. He actually runs up the gut quite a bit.
Yeah.
And but he's quick with it. It's not just speed, it's quickness. He knows how to move and maneuver.
He's a football player with track speed.
Yeah.
He really is.
And so he can do a lot. He can catch the ball well out of the backfield. I think all the way around, this is a really, really good player that you're able to get in the 5th round. It just speaks to, again, what Will said and what you guys have been saying the whole draft season. This was a very, very, very deep running back class to get somebody of this caliber in the 5th round.
Yeah, when we had a chance to talk to, Coach Adams about I asked him the question, what are you looking for in a running back in this scheme? And the one thing he said was contact balance. This kid right here is one of the best in the nation when it came to contact, yards after contact. And you could see him just his ability to break people down in space.
Mm-hmm. That movie you just put on somebody.
He was one of the best in the country when it came to, he would get hit behind the line of scrimmage and still manage 3.5 yards a carry after getting hit. So he has that kind of ability to make people miss. He is outstanding when it comes to his ability to run inside to show toughness. He's not a small guy. He's 5'9". He's 196 pounds. That's a thick guy. He's not one of these guys you just have to worry about. The wear and tear on him is I don't think that's going to be a problem. The questions that people have always had about him is the ball security. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. And you wonder, is this something that he's going to have to deal with? My own personal experience as a former pro personnel guy and an advanced scout, if I knew there was a player that you could try and knock the ball out of his hands and attack the ball or tackle the ball, and he was going to give it up, this is something that this kid is going to fight with. And he's going to have to prove to people that the ball security is not a problem. And once he does that, then you'll get people to kind of to stay away from that. But his reputation as being a guy that has toughness, but the ball security could be the question. That's the one thing that I think kept him down the board a little bit, was the fact that that would happen to him. And if people are going to try and tackle the ball on him, and if they have success, teams are going to continue to try and tackle the ball on him. That film will not go away.
Also, too, Cowboy fans, hear me out. We don't have a wide receiver, too. I understand. Don't be upset. But we have a Jaden Blue. And he will catch a ton of passes. He's not a pass-catching running back in a way of, I'm going to run a Texas route, I'm going to run a swing, that's it. He will line up at slot. He will run corners. He will run posts. He will set linebackers in.
Watch the Clemson game.
And he will throw head fakes at you, hand fakes at you. He will run all types of routes, looking for different mismatches or whatnot. And I think that's where he's really going to excel. Shouts out to Deuce, man. Deuce is going to have to, fight for his life a little bit, because Deuce was a pass catcher, but he's a little bitty. Jadon is a little taller. He's a better pass rusher. He's a little thicker than Deuce, so he's going to have the edge there. But I don't think you're going to be missing a whole bunch of running back, pass attempts with him. I mean, he's going to be taking it, and then once he catches it, he turns into a 4-2 guy again, and good luck catching.
Well, real quick, Derek, if I could, the whole thing with the second wide receiver, there's clearly, you would love to be able to address that somehow, some way, whether it's a trade, free agent signings. There's opportunities. You talk to people in the organization, they'll tell you, hey, we're looking at a lot of wide receivers. I'm very encouraged by that part of it all. Yeah. But now if you find a way, you get Blue involved, you got Lamb. How about Jake Ferguson as well? Could you get a bounce back from Jake Ferguson as well?
Can you mix in Kevontae Turpin?
And you mix in Turpin as well. So hopefully you'll have ways to distribute the ball and make up for it. But I do believe they are going to go get a receiver. Somehow, some way, and you've also got, June 1 cuts. You want to be able to have the ability to have the finances to be able to go, if somebody does get cut, that you can go get them and make them part of the roster. I don't think they're done by any means trying to add weapons to this football team.
Yeah. Just that though, like that makes me happy that they're at least aware that wide receiver 2 is a need. Like if we're not hearing anybody talk about, like, there's no reports about them looking at wide receiver 2, I would be befuddled. And the Cowboys will do it. They'll look us right in the eye and be like, hey, Mingo and Tolbert, that's it, step up, and that'll be what Semi got to step up, y'all. Like they've been telling us.
We've seen it before.
It happens. So the fact that there are reports saying, hey, the Cowboys are looking into it, chill out, that makes me chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you guys described them pretty well.
I talk a lot. I'm sorry, bro. That's me.
No, you're good.
Everything.
You're good.
Derek knew better when he brought you on.
No, but just like you guys said, he's a very versatile guy, and I love the fact that he can catch the ball. But I'm not gonna lie, it does give me a pit in my stomach when I do see some of those highlights where he does lose the ball, because we've seen that happen here. And I don't think that's something that you can easily correct. It's going to take some time for him to improve in that area. So that's definitely something to be extremely aware of. And hopefully this coaching staff is able to give him the right training to improve in that. But it will be something that will take a little bit.
Yeah, I think they fixed it on the program. So I think they just might need to do some of that, and maybe that went all over y'all's head. Did y'all not watch the program?
No, I didn't know it.
I was born in 92 when it comes out.
92, I think.
To that point, though.
Yeah.
To that point,
I
don't think
Derek.
Blue is
I know what you're
necessarily
talking
a fumbler. I just think that he forgets that he needs to keep it high and tight sometimes, and when he's trying to run for extra. Well, Murray was a fumbler.
Okay.
Like we'll be Green Bay or whatever, and he'll know that he's high and tight. You'll see DeMarco Murray have the ball high and tight. And
You're saying he had the technique, he just fumbled.
He just fumbled, and it could
but
be.
the result is the same. The ball is on the ground. Either way.
That's fair.
But I guess
that's fair. But what I'm saying, like Jadon has the ball down here,
right.
And when he does his, flipping and running thing, it kind of loosens up a little bit. I think you can beat ball like high and tight into him, like beat high and tight into him.
Technique, basically.
DeMarco Murray, and it could have been his big old muscles. I don't know what was making him fumble the football, but Murray could not stop putting the ball on the ground. It was not Dez's fault.
Yeah, I will tell you this, and I'm just being fair as a Texas fan who watched all those games. There was a point in the season where you were kind of like, every time he got the ball, you were like, because you were like, good things could happen, bad things could happen, right? It was a problem. It certainly was a problem.
They had a rotation of some outstanding backs, and you wonder, like late in the season, did the coaching staff there determine that, listen, we, as much as we love throwing him the ball and handing him the ball, is there that threat of him maybe putting the ball on the ground? Derek, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember the Washington game in the playoffs. Was that it was a fumble?
I know there was a big game where he had a big fumble, but I can't remember if it was a Washington game.
Yeah, so to me, I think it was. But yeah, that to me is the only thing wrong with this player.
I agree.
You watch him when he can he can punish you. And I mean, punish you in the way of making you miss and making huge plays. This guy's a finisher. I mean, you hand him the ball, he can score from anywhere on the field. He's got that kind of speed.
Yep. All right. We only have a couple more minutes here. So real quick, I wanted to get you guys' thought on 5th round pick, linebacker Shamar James out of Florida. What are your thoughts on him, and what can he contribute to what I think is, again, another position that has, because of what they did in free agency, become pretty deep. I don't know if they have a lot of great players, but I think they got a lot of good players. Where does he fit?
I wasn't the biggest fan of him. When I'm watching linebackers, I like to see, running, hitting, and like processing. I don't want to see you lost out there. And James got lost a little bit. I don't think he'll fit you as a Mike linebacker type guy. But I got to go back and watch and see how the Cowboys look at him, because they look at him as a will pass rushy guy.
Yeah.
So what I need to do is go to the film and just ignore all the, this linebacker thing, and just think about him as a pass rushing will linebacker linebacker guy. And maybe that's why they like him so much. But just me watching him, he gets lost a bunch. If it's any kind of misdirection, motion, he's lost. He's gone. And he's guessing. And I don't want to see guys guessing, because if you guess and gamble, then you're all the way wrong. But he's sometimes the most athletic looking player on that defense. And he didn't test that way. But just watching him run around, you can see the burst and the athleticism on him. So I'm gonna go back and watch him with Cowboy eyes, but just me watching him initially and trading up for him, I didn't see it personally.
Can I ask real quick before we move on?
Please.
When you say that, do you think that part of it goes back to what you're talking about with fumbling? If you're saying that he looks lost a lot, especially when you have motion, that kind of thing, is that something that being in the NFL and being around professionals and the right kind of coaching can get him right in that way? Because it is something he just has to learn.
If he has a lot of jobs, then he will get
there
lost.
you go.
But if he's at will and you go, all right, your only job is first back out.
Yeah.
Whatever the first back out is, that's your job. If you narrow his job down, he's athletic enough to be decent for it.
Here we go. Will linebacker, let him be straight line rush guy, because that's something he could absolutely do. His instincts, as Voch says, are not always great. These coaches talk about putting players. We were talking about pin and pull. We don't got pin and pull linemen. We're not going to pin and pull. Yep. So make this kid a will linebacker. Let him run to the ball. Let him use his explosiveness. Let him use his straight line speed. Don't put him in a lot of coverage situations, but figure out ways to kind of play to his strengths initially. I think that's what you have to do. But the instincts were a little bit of a problem with him when you watched his tape.
Yeah, I think the one position that you absolutely need to have really great instinct is linebacker.
Yeah.
For sure. And he's a guy that at least I think the Cowboys did address a need. Like linebacker, we know that the Cowboys are dealing with the injuries there, and DeMarvin Overshawn not being there. So I think he does add the depth. He's not going to be a guy that I would expect to make an immediate impact. But you look at special teams, and that's an area that he can definitely contribute at. But I do think this more of a pick of addressing a need rather than the guy that they mostly wanted.
We've seen my guy Damone Clark.
Yeah.
And we all kind of think Damone Clark, God, he's a good-looking player. Why doesn't he make more plays? He lacks instincts.
Yep.
When you don't find the ball, and we've had some of the best to ever find the ball here. Sean Lee's, Dat Wynn. We've had some guys here that can find Dexter Coakley, find the ball, get there, make plays. But we've also seen Damone Clark. And Damone Clark, as good-looking as he is, when you don't find the ball well and you get lost that way, then that's a little bit of a problem.
Yep. All right, that's a wrap. We appreciate you guys joining us.
You see what I mean? At the start of the show?
Tommy is strong. Jay Toya is strong.
Hey, we don't get nothing away. We don't get nothing away for free.
We were going to have so
a
much
whole
time
show
that
next
we were
week.
going to talk about even other guys.
Ask him if he's inviting you back next week.
Maybe. But I think we got like 6 or 7 shows left before we get to training camp.
That's
So
right.
we're going to hold some of this content. We'll be back next week. Make sure you join us. We got some more players
talked
to
about
go
the
through.
Texas player for 30 minutes today. I mean,
That's the
my
problem.
gosh, there was no value.
We will open the next show talking about Jaden Blue.
Hook 'em.
Appreciate you guys joining us for Voch Lombardi, Bryan Broaddus, Amber Garcia. I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?